What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid, give you a quick overview of some of the current data points, talk on the news that just came out today and what it truly does mean. And then aside from that, just go over what institutions have been doing with Lucid. But before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did do fairly well. So closed 0.83% in the green. It did close at 242. So I'm going to talk all about where it closed and what that means for the technicals, but a little bit low for volume. So 12.81 million shares being traded, 25.6 is the average. Based off of this, you didn't see that many transactions buying Lucid. So clearly it's just algorithm feeding off of the news that came out today, interpreting it as very positive, thus buying it. In addition to shorts, I'm going to talk about them. But when it comes down to Lucid itself, there was no SEC filings today, but there was this news that came out first thing in the morning, and it just says the 2024 Lucid Air Grand Touring, the longest range EV gets even better. So it looks like they're finally innovating the product itself, not just over the air updates and whatever. It looks like they actually are upgrading its technology. One thing that they do bring up, for instance, is on the Sapphire, is where you can have the updated heat pump, and that does extend the range. In here, it kind of talks on the Air Grand Touring gets even better. I don't really see any upgrades to the Air Grand Touring exactly. It looks like it's just been tested under the new EPA conditions, which it does maintain, I think, the original 516 miles. But aside from that though, this is the whole PR right here is just showcasing exactly how amazing Lucid's technology truly is. And like I've said, this is something that I really wish that Lucid itself would focus more on, especially their marketing. It's just how good the product truly is, and not just say, hey, we did test drives or something like that. Like, this is like, hey, our product is next level. It's going to kick everyone's ass. And so, yeah, I think that's a good thing. At the same time, I don't know if there's any correlation to this, but there was this that was posted on social media. It was in correlation with, I guess, drag times. So they did do the Air Sapphire, and it looks like 154.8 miles in 8.9 seconds flat. Pretty kick-ass stuff. So I think in reality, the Sapphire is their Halo car. Amazing stuff when it comes down to that. So in reality, amazing Lucid product. Just the stock price hasn't necessarily been the best, but over this last couple of days, despite the massive amount of fear that's in the market, so the fear and greed index is at 36. But despite that though, Lucid's actually been doing fairly well in comparison to, for instance, Tesla. And just to give you a quick overview of that, just to go to the charts, so obviously it's not really performed that well compared to the S&P, but let's say over this last 5 days, let's pull up good old Tesla just to give you a good overview of how that is comparing and I guess faring. So Tesla is down over the last 1 week, down 9.12%. Lucid is down 2.41%. So like I said, given all the fear in the market, Lucid is doing relatively well. But of course, if you kind of zoom out over this 1 year, then things get different. But hopefully this is just the start to come of bigger and better things for Lucid. We'll just have to wait and see. But going over some data points before I go over the 13Fs and everything that you need to know for that. Shorts did increase about 286,000 shares. 32.32% of the free float is being shorted. So today another all-time high short interest was created. And this was a very first day where there wasn't a new 52-week all-time low created. So kind of breaking the trend somewhat. Utilization is 97.92%. Short score is 93.48. So hopefully for those of you that did watch my video first thing, I went over the top 5 squeeze stocks, or the highest short interest percentage EV stocks, and Lucid is number 1. So I wanted to kind of just do that video just to break it down in context on, I guess, the top 5, and still really does show, it makes you question who on earth would really want to short Lucid. But maybe we'll never know. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. But cost to borrow average is 84.68%. But going over options, another day that there is reduced volume. So $174,000 in calls, 620 in puts. Sentiment wise though, 56% of all the options being done today are optimistic. And it's more around that 250 call option or 250 strike price. So no doubtably that's probably just shorts just hedging their bets just in case. And as it stands, looking at the open interest for the calls, you do see a pretty strong wall around the $3, $3.50, and then the $4 strike prices. So you do see the open interest, and you kind of see 9,000 open interest at the 250 strike price. So no doubtably you will have shorts, especially with Thursday and Friday right around the corner. You will have shorts trying to suppress Lucid below that 250 mark. So kind of just stay tuned for that. I've already brought this up. So these are the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So a little bit kind of in line with the last several trading days, and that is linked to shorting. So before I get into the technicals and all the other fun jazz, I will go over this. So latest round of 13Fs have been coming down the pipeline. So you do see right here a lot of purchasing, not substantial, like millions of shares, but regardless, I still think that this is good. So all of this did occur during Q1. So just keep that in mind when obviously Lucid was $3 to $4 range. But right here, you do see a lot of purchasing. A lot of the big names, though, haven't disclosed their 13Fs, such as BlackRock and Vanguard. You do see the subsidiaries, such as BlackRock Fund Advisors. They did reduce their position by 61,000 or 62,000 shares. But aside from that, you do see a lot of purchasing that has been happening or no change. So obviously you can just pause this while I'm going through it. I'm going through it relatively fast. But keep in mind as well, next quarter, that new SEC transparency rule is going to be kicking into force. So you probably will see a lot of shorts be returning some of their shares over the next quarter and a half, just because they don't want to be called out, probably. So we will find out eventually whoever is shorting Lucid one time or another. But again, you do see some pretty big transactions. You see the good old PIF right down here. So the PIF obviously didn't do anything in Q1, as you can kind of see right there. So in reality, I think a lot of big names are taking advantage of these discounted prices with Lucid. Let me know if you are one of those individuals as well from the retail standpoint. But going over here with it closing at $2.42, it is exactly right below this S2. So I think overall Lucid was fighting despite the lack of institutional buyers today, because like I did say, you really want to watch for it to get above this 243, which it did briefly get above there, just not really enough for it to stay there. Ideally, it wants to stay between this S2 and this S1 leading into their upcoming earnings. But for whatever reason, if there is more fears in the broader market, then you could see that pull down based on the Elliott wave technicals, as I did bring up, I believe, last video or 2 videos ago. So definitely watch for this 243 going into tomorrow and the following day. But again, with that very strong resistance level being brought on by the options, you are going to see Lucid struggle to get over that 250 mark. But on the actual chart itself, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, very oversold. So this is why you did see a lot of volume, just algorithmic trading, swing traders, because of that very positive news that did come out. And again, I don't know, I kind of read through a lot of the pricing. I don't think any of the pricing has changed. I don't know if they're trying to sneak a fast one, again, lowering the prices or something, but the PR is kind of the same, AGT is the same, and then Air Touring is the same. So I don't think anything has changed for that. It'd be really epic for whatever reason if Lucid does lower the prices a little bit more. So even if they lower it to 59, I think that would be absolutely amazing. Although it would technically lose a little bit more money, but you'd have a lot more sales. So I think that might eventually offset itself. So I think once they are able to get more and more vehicles, I think the reflection point is roughly 140,000 vehicles, give or take. So once they start to produce that amount, this is where they should be transitioning to profitability. In my opinion, at least. A lot of different circumstances could change that though. But aside from that though, you do see number of retail investors getting out over this last little bit, and you can see that based on the momentum indicator. So like I said, give yourself a shout out in the comments if you have been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with Lucid? And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Meg 7. So a $35 total value. Take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.